Welcome to Keystone Cold Cases, a podcast that aims to reignite cold cases across Pennsylvania. We are here to bring attention to the stories that have faded into the background, honoring the victims and their families along the way. Each episode is a step closer to understanding the truth, because every case deserves more than just a passing glance, and every voice deserves to be heard.
Hey guys, it's Chelsea with Keystone Cold Cases podcast, and with me I am joined by Carrie and Shannon. Ladies, how are you guys doing tonight?
Great.
Hanging in there.
It's been a week for some of us in the group.
Yes.
Yeah, it has. Like, I'm feeling good. My husband just came home with some tomato pie, and yeah, it's good stuff. If you know, you know.
Tell them what kind of pie it is, because if you're from Pennsylvania, you'll know.
You know. It's Corporalese, which is amazing. It's the bestest ever out of all the tomato pies. I know tomato pie's not for everybody, but it's the best.
Delicious. And Shannon, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Things are looking up from this weekend, so
Awesome.
hopefully we can return to some normalcy this week.
It's always got to be something, right?
Always.
Yeah.
Always something. But today we get to kind of focus on one of all of our favorite seasons, our spooky season.
Yay.
We're going to be recording for that tonight.
Spooky.
It's a little bit depressing because, like, it's so far away, but so close. We actually went to the movies last night to see the Weapons movie, and oh gosh, it was so good. But it's funny because we saw an ad for the last of Right's Conjuring movie, and that kind of ties into our story tonight, because we're going to go over Dan Rivera and the Annabelle doll. We all love a good horror movie, the kind that gets your heart racing, makes you bury your face behind a blanket, and delivers that perfect jump scare. While many of these films are wild, over-the-top creations born from twisted imaginations, some are actually rooted in chilling reality. In this episode, we're diving into one of those eerie tales, the story of Annabelle. And no, we're not talking about the creepy porcelain doll from the popular horror franchise. The real Annabelle existed, but her appearance and story are far more unsettling than Hollywood would have you believe. So, join us as we uncover the true origins of Annabelle and explore her eerie connection to the Keystone State.
So I have to say, I always thought that the porcelain doll was Annabelle.
Me too.
Like, always. And just learned literally 2 weeks ago that it is not. And I was like, no, that one's the Annabelle doll, because it was the real one was like in this little case or whatever. And I'm like, no, that's the one. My husband's like, no, that's just the movie one. That's the one. And I was like, that's what?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, like,
Yeah, how could that be scary?
yeah.
Yeah, the creepy, like, you know, that's what you expect. But then you look at the actual Annabelle dolls, like a Raggedy Ann that I had as a child. I'm like, dear Lord, that's Annabelle? Like, stop. But, yeah, for movie's sake, I get it why they would pick, like, a porcelain doll or whatever. Yeah.
So my question for you ladies is, did you realize this because of the Matt Rife stories?
I knew it beforehand.
No,
Mm-hmm.
I knew it when what you're going to talk about happened. That's when like Jamie pointed it out to me. I was like,
Okay.
really? I was like, that's Raggedy Ann.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, but that's it. I was like, well, that's just even more weird now.
Well, it's kind of interesting that Annabelle has been in the news so much as of late, just like the last month or two.
Yes.
She's just been out there. Talk about crazy timing, because that movie is coming out. Like, such great publicity.
It is. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Stop. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, the story of Annabelle started in 1970. And this is all loosely based. I have links to everything, but it's, you know, we'll get into it. But
It's like folklore more so than
it's all based on the Warrens and
Mhm.
their, you know, their story.
yeah.
The quote-unquote stories they sold. In 1970, a mother had purchased a doll for her daughter's 28th birthday, which to me is a little bit strange because 28 years old, why are you getting a doll?
Thinking the same thing. Not what I would want.
Can I interject for 1 second, though, on this? Because I sent Jamie a link off of Facebook Marketplace of a Cabbage Patch doll in a Phillies uniform, similar to one I had growing up. And I was like, I used to have this doll. And he's like, of course you did. And I'm just kind of low key hoping I get that for my birthday.
You never know.
And I'm not 28. I'll just say that.
That's a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's more of a collector kind of thing, but that seems kind of weird to me.
Well, I'm kind of weird anyway, so
not
you.
Know, this
that's fine.
You know.
I want a Phillies Cabbage Patch doll for my 53rd birthday.
No, that's cool. It's a collector thing, but this does not feel collector.
Well, to add on to that, when the story is like brought to life, or when people are reporting on it, or if you see it in documentaries or other stories or animations, it's literally just one doll. From the beginning of the woman acquiring the doll, she felt like something was quote unquote wrong. She would place the doll on the bed, but she was positive the doll was moving on its own, like just at first, like the position. And this woman had lived in a house with roommates, and the others were noticing strange things as well. Pieces of parchment paper would be found on the floor with messages saying, "Help me, help us," which is a little bit creepy. And all the housemates claimed that they didn't even have parchment paper in the house and were kind of dumbfounded on how it even got there.
It's crazy.
And then the doll would completely move rooms on its own. So not just positions, but like completely move on its own. At one point, a housemate claimed that it was leaking blood. It wasn't specific if it was like from its eyes or its mouth. It just said leaking, which is gross all in itself.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until they had a friend come over did one of the housemates realize how serious they felt their house was in danger. According to them, this guy came in and took a nap in their house. Like it was a friend that was just hanging out, and he was tired. And when he woke up, the doll was staring at him, and according to an article in the New Haven Register, he felt like he was being strangled. There were deep scratch wounds on his upper body. It is not every day you have a possessed murderous doll, I suppose. And these house flatmates didn't really know who to call or where they should go to get help. Like, where do you go?
Yeah, who do you call without them calling in the men in white coats to come get you?
Yeah,
exactly.
And we know this is before Ghostbusters, so you definitely weren't calling them.
I was thinking the same thing, Shannon. Shall I say it? I'm like, no, you did.
I guess their first start was contacting a medium, and this medium conducted a seance, and she was able to contact the spirit inhabiting the doll. They learned that the spirit was that of Annabelle Higgins, who apparently lived in the residence, but had died there at the age of 7. The doll said that it wanted to stay in the house with the housemates, and they were young, and they agreed, and quote-unquote gave permission to Annabelle to inhabit the doll. And in my mind, why play with fire?
I guess they're thinking age 7, what harm could come about if this is,
Yeah, but I think demonic.
Yeah.
They like to pretend they're young children. It feels a little demonic to me.
Well, the situation did not get better. It got worse. The women were scared and desperate for normalcy, yet they felt stuck between a rock and a hard spot. Where do you go to get rid of evil from your home? So the pair then reached out to an Episcopal priest who talked to his superior, which then somewhere along the chain of correspondence, Lorraine and Ed Warren ended up hearing about this bizarre case, and their interests were piqued. So the Warrens traveled to meet the housemates and Annabelle. Fun fact, according to the website, they would not charge for their services. They only would charge for travel, basically, to get there.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. That is a very fun fact.
Yeah, no idea. Had no idea about that. They made most of their money from their books, talks, and videos that they did have. Anywho, once they did interact with this doll, Lorraine believed that it was not possessed, but it was manipulated by an inhumane presence, which obviously I think we all could figure that out ourselves. They believed the spirit was looking to attach itself to a human, so they decided that they would take the doll to protect the public. And they encouraged local priests to do an exorcism of the apartment or house, what have you. And honestly, I only thought you could like exorcise a person, not a house. I was kind of confused about that.
Yeah.
I like in my head, I thought it was more of like a cleansing. You know, in all those horror movies, you see people like saging the shit out of their house.
Sage and...
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. According to the Warrens, on their way home, Ed made a decision to go back ways because he feared the doll could cause a serious accident, and they were worried about their own lives. Even though they did take precautions, they encountered their brakes randomly stalling or failing, which could have caused a serious accident, and they were adamant Annabelle was the cause for the brakes to malfunction. This is because Ed doused the doll in holy water and the brakes started working fine again. Now, mind you, this doll is huge. Like, you see it in a box, but when you see someone actually holding up,
yeah, it's not like a baby doll. It's, you know, it's a big rag doll.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's huge. Absolutely huge. So, needless to say, he used a lot of holy water, and the real Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll, like we've already talked about. It's not that porcelain doll. It was all fabric, and it had, like, that red yarn hair and the triangle nose. And when you think of the doll, you think of the cuteness and playing with it. You're not really thinking a horror story at all. So at first they left her in Ed's study, but she was popping up in other rooms again. Still fearing that the doll could potentially possess a human, they placed her in a glass case which had the Lord's Prayers and St. Michael's Prayer on it. They even had a warning sign that read, "Warning, positively do not open." And she sits at the Warrens Occult Museum, which is located in Monroe, Connecticut. Even though Annabelle was holed away in the museum, the Warrens claim she was able to still create havoc. They claimed a priest visited them and was skeptical of the powers of Annabelle. The priest picked up the doll and mocked it. On his way home, the priest was in a near-fatal accident where his car was totaled. He swore before the accident he saw Annabelle in his rearview mirror.
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
Yeah.
Then there was another visitor to the occult museum who mocked the doll and tapped on the glass of Annabelle's prison. He was driving home with his partner when he lost control of his motorcycle. The man died and his partner barely survived. She claimed later that right before the crash, they were laughing about Annabelle.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to go there.
So the biggest problem is when the Warrens recount these stories, they only use first names, so the stories are never really able to be corroborated. In fact, most of the items at the Occult Museum have been debunked by the New England Skeptical Society, which I think sounds silly, but hey, we all
It does sound silly. I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
The Skeptical Society.
Yeah.
Of course they debunked it. That's their whole reason for being, because they're skeptical.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
But this society claimed that the items were fraudulent, citing doctored photos and exaggerated storytelling. And it, like, everyone who kind of knew the Warrens said that they were extraordinary at telling these stories. There's just some people that are wonderful storytellers. Like, when I think about our podcast, I think, like, Melissa is just so great at storytelling. If you listen to her cases.
Yes, she is.
There's just some people are so good at it.
Yep.
But both the Warrens are dead by this point. Their legacy is carried by their daughter Judy and her husband Tony Spera. Even though the Warrens' work has been debunked, Tony claims that the doll is dangerous. When asked about Annabelle's powers, he said, "It is dangerous? Yes." Is it the most dangerous object in the museum? Yes. He claims messing with the doll is like playing Russian roulette, as some other people feel as well.
I would think even if it's if those accents and everything were coincidence, it should be enough to get you to not mess around with the doll, regardless. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
you know, there's just something that I'd be like, you're the prettiest doll on the world, you know, thank you for being here. You know, something, you know, really butt kissy to this doll, you know, so I would have a safe commute home.
Yeah.
But I will not go there because I'm already like got the heebie-jeebies over here.
I respect your energy. It's like,
Yeah.
Exactly. For Halloween 2014, there was a movie release of Annabelle. It did exceptionally well at the movies, and I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely love their casting for Ed and Lorraine. Those two actors just go so beautifully together. I don't know if you ladies have seen the movies, but I love them.
I have not.
You haven't seen any of them?
Saw The Conjuring.
Okay.
Yeah. Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson are the Warrens, I think.
I'm not sure of their names.
Yeah. I love them both. They're both great.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And it's clearly obvious their chemistry because they've made so many of them.
Yep.
So with the success of the first movie, 2 more movies were made based on Annabelle, but the franchise also came out with The Conjuring, The Nun, and The Curse of La Llorona. And apparently the franchise is the highest grossing horror franchise to date.
Wow.
Which kind of surprised me because there's a couple other ones that I thought were pretty up there.
Right. Yeah.
Well, when you have 52, Friday the 13th and 20 Halloweens, you would think that they'd be a little bit higher grossing.
Yeah.
Yes. And I mentioned before, and I'll mention again, the franchise has another movie coming out called The Conjuring Last Rites, which I will absolutely be watching, though at the time I'm researching this, it was July. We're recording in August. By the time you listen, it will have been out for a month.
Watch party.
So now this story takes us to a man named Dan Rivera. Dan was extremely into the supernatural and became part of the New England Society for Psychic Research. And for years, he worked with the Warrens before they passed. He wanted to share his love of the paranormal with other enthusiasts. Dan helped run events and tours for the society, and he would sometimes include Annabelle. And when I say that, he would literally take the doll within her, glass prison and tour.
He didn't take her out ever.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
And with that, it brings us to July 2025, just almost a month ago from when we're recording. Dan was on the Devils on the Run tour, which was being run by the New England Society for Psychic Research. And there was a show in Gettysburg on July 12th where Dan was showing Annabelle, which is crazy because a ton of paranormal fanatics believe Pennsylvania experienced a statewide intermittent 911 outages, which occurred on July 11th when Annabelle crossed onto state lines.
Wow.
Yep. We all lost the 911, right?
Yep.
I was in Jersey at the time, but I remember getting all these alerts. Oh, 911's not working. Say what now?
Yeah, I was in New York, but I was like, geez.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then in Gettysburg too, arguably the most haunted spot in Pennsylvania.
I agree.
Yes.
So we've got the trifecta going on here.
Oh gosh, so true. So true.
Well, I remember exactly where I was when the alert happened for the outage because I was actually recording with Melissa at the time and I had turned my phone onto silent, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because when you have the alerts, it still goes off.
Yes.
It scared the absolute shit out of me. I was like, what is my phone doing? Because it's so loud.
Yeah.
Yes. And Melissa's what's happening? Because I guess there's you can go on your Apple phone and turn all those off. I didn't know you could do that.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that either.
Yeah,
Oh.
you can disable them. So she was like, what is your phone doing? And I was like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's the end of the world.
Yes. But it's crazy coincidence because they were coming in right around that time too. Obviously, it's not because of Annabelle. I heard other states had also had intermittent issues with their 911 too. So don't believe it was Annabelle. Just a coincidence. On July 13th, Dan was discovered dead in his hotel room by coworkers. This was just after he finished a 3-day sold-out event, which was held in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Paranormal fans said that Annabelle did it. They were just convinced, and a lot of people brought up the same thing that Shannon brought up. Of all places to take Annabelle, you take it to Gettysburg, which already has all this paranormal juju happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
And actually, it's really funny because a couple of our spooky stories are also in Gettysburg. So I guess it's just a lot of Gettysburg time this year for our spookies. So when police showed up to the scene for Dan at the hotel, they noted that Annabelle was not actually in the room. The Adams County Chief Deputy Coroner Scott Pennewell claimed that his death was nothing suspicious, even though Dan was extremely young for his untimely death. He was only 54 years old. The police report listed the nature of his incident as a natural death, but they did say that it will take weeks to have an official autopsy report and like a final say. I definitely think it takes a couple months. It takes like 10 months, sometimes longer, obviously, because there's other cases and stuff like that.
Right.
But they do a toxicology report on like every single organ and everything like that, and it's timely.
Right. I didn't realize it took that much time, but wow.
Oh no, it does take a long time. His family and friends want people to know Dan beyond his work with Annabelle. Dan was an Army vet and a huge family man of 4 children. Everyone lamented how he deeply cared about everyone he came into contact with. Some people that know him are upset that there are people using his early passing to make profit. They are creating a fake narrative to garnish attention and make money, which...
Not cool.
There's always those scumbags.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And while I was writing this up, I saw a TikTok stating that Matt Rife bought the entire house and museum of the Warrens. Who knew this shit stick had other hobbies other than being misogynistic and disrespectful?
Oh my god, stop. My husband loves Matt Rife, and it cracks me up because I'm like, didn't you hear about that? He's like, no. Because he doesn't care about this aspect, but yeah, like I said before, I had a nightmare about Matt Rife, and I don't know the guy personally. I'm worried for him. Matt Rife, please be careful.
I guess we'll see.
When I first got on TikTok, he was like one of the first comedians that popped up, and I thought he was hilarious. But I definitely think he did like a very distasteful like Netflix portion that was pretty rough. And I mean, I get it, you're trying to make laughs, but like sexual assault jokes, come on.
Yeah, he can be a bit much. Yeah. I mean, I'm personally not into him. Like, maybe he's a very nice person. I'm sure he is, but it's not necessarily my taste.
Yeah. I mean, everyone has their own opinions, and it is what it is. But he definitely did purchase his home. And according to his socials, he took this endeavor on with his friend Elton Casti, who I'm not 100% sure who he is. I've never heard of him before.
Me neither. Yeah, I was curious who that was.
In his announcement, he said, quote, "I have officially purchased Ed and Lorraine Warren's home and occult museum, including being the legal guardian for at least the next 5 years of the entire haunted collection, including the Annabelle doll." End quote. Honestly, though he didn't make you question this bizarre purchase, he clearly sees money signs. He plans on opening this house up for people to stay and experience the paranormal. I mean, that is their plan. This is going to be like, I don't know, an Airbnb or Vrbo.
Right.
Like with a side of ghosts.
Yes, it is. Oh, God.
Everyone will want to go, honestly. He's genius.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I can't even imagine how much money he dropped for it because, like, in Connecticut, that ain't cheap.
Right.
No.
So the pair plan to have tours to experience and learn about what he calls the prominent pieces of paranormal history in the world, especially after the death of Dan. Can you imagine the wonder if an inanimate object could cause so much damage? And it's clearly obvious it's a money move. But with that, that's the story of Annabelle. Story about how she is connected to the Keystone State, even though that is not her permanent home. What are your guys' thoughts? I would love to know, especially the listeners. Do you just think it's an object and people are, making connections that aren't there? Or do you think she's really evil?
Yeah, I mean, didn't Ed and Lorraine say before they pass, do not move her?
Yes.
Under any circumstance. Like, just don't do it.
Oh my gosh.
Even if you don't believe in it, just leave it alone.
I'm sure, though, she garnered money for the family, especially when she went on tour. And I want to say she wasn't the only thing from their museum that would move, but obviously everyone thought she was the most haunted.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are some enthusiasts of like paranormal that will drop buco bucks on like haunted things.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a couple other haunted items that weren't in the Warrens collection that people go crazy about, that there are horror movies based on. I don't know. I guess until you experience it, you'll never know. And a lot of people don't even want to mess with that juju to even find out.
Yep. I am one of them.
Yeah, no, thank you. Don't they have the Dibbit box?
Yes. Yes. And that was something, I think that showed up on like eBay and someone dropped a lot of money for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, thank you. No. Why are we doing that? No.
Yeah.
Even if you don't believe in that, but it's just bad energy. Like, no, thank you.
Landon has, because they sell it in like Targets and places, the Ouija board.
Yeah.
Because it's sold by like Hasbro, I think.
I know.
And it's listed as like a kid's toy.
A game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Landon's always like, let's get it. I'm like, I maybe not believe in it, but it doesn't mean that maybe something won't happen. Let's just not.
That's kind of how I feel. I had it growing up, and I regret that. I would not have one in my house. Not now.
And the power of suggestion is so strong. So if you have somebody that's, naive or open-minded, it doesn't, it could cause a whole bunch of like instances or happenings that aren't really happening, but because you played with the Ouija board, you opened portal to the other side, and now, there's your house is creaking, even though it's
yeah,
not.
I believe in that, the portals, and then people forget to close out their session and to say goodbye. If you leave that open, that's not okay.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. So yeah, to our listeners, let us know what you think. You have any crazy experiences or anything like that, let us know, because we always love to talk about it.
Yeah, how do they leave comments, by the way? I was just curious. Is it like if they're on Spotify, they can like drop it down like right after the episode, right? But like what if they're listening on a different platform? How do they leave their comments and stuff?
They can go on our socials.
Go on the socials and leave comments? Okay.
That's all we have for this episode of the Keystone Cold Cases podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and please consider leaving us a review wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to find out more about the podcast, the host, and the cases we cover, or if you want to suggest a case, please visit us at kccpod.com or send us an email at keystonecoldcases@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook at Keystone Cold Cases and on Instagram and TikTok at kccpod. Follow us on YouTube at Keystone Cold Cases. Please remember never to reach out to family or friends of the victims, only to law enforcement if you have any tips. This episode was researched and hosted by me, Chelsea. Find all of our sources, social info, and contact information at kccpod.com. Theme music by Darren Makins and production assistance from Shannon Bickel. Join us again next week for another case to sleuth out to.